in times gone by, one of the favourite pursuits of kings, princes and noblemen was falconry. For them it was a sport, but now farmers here on Dartmoor are reviving the tradition, this time they say for pest control. Chris Packham joined the crow hawkers, and there are pictures of the aftermath of the hunt which some of you may find upsetting.
September on Dartmoor. On the ground, all God's creatures living in perfect harmony. But in the sky, a time-honoured battle is about to take place. Martin is a falconer by trade. In his spare time, he helps the farmers of Dartmoor deal with a feathery nuisance of their own, the carrion crow.
You live on Dartmoor here, half the car parks around Dartmoor are just rubbish tips. They're not kept particularly clean. There's a lot of food for that. The crows survive very well during the breeding season. It's when all the people are around there. So they normally pull off very, very large clutches. Come the winter, when the weather turns, people go away. That's when they start becoming a pest.
When food is scarce, crows turn to easy pickings, and that makes them a traditional enemy of farmers.
In the spring, when I use heavy and lamb, she'll sometimes get on her back and not be able to turn herself up, especially these that have very heavy fleeces, and the crows will come and peck their eyes out. And usually there's a very nasty infection after they've had their eyes taken. She was lucky. She didn't really get an infection, and she was due to go to the butcher, but she seemed to be managing, and she managed so well we never had the heart to send her.
Seen as winged assassins by some, for ornithologist Richard Bland, Corvus Carone is a bit more sophisticated than that.
Crows are felt of as very aggressive. They'll certainly attack other young birds and other birds' nests and take eggs. But essentially what they're doing is trying to feed themselves and stay alive, same as everything else. You couldn't call them lovable in any sense, but I think they have a reputation rather like the magpies, which is not very well deserved.
To outwit such a cunning adversary, farmers have used traps and guns to keep numbers down. But in the last few years in Northumberland and now in Dartmoor, they've enlisted a new weapon, a finely tuned killing machine.
Right, now this is Morgan. She's a hybrid falcon. She's a cross between a peregrine falcon and a saker falcon, and she is my best crow catcher.
On the day of the hunt, Martin weighs his falcons. Just like championship boxers, they have an optimum fighting weight.
This is Galahad. He's a male cross between a gerfalcon and a saker falcon. He's become a little bit what we call lure bound. He's more interested in the lure than he is in what's away from him. We're gradually changing his habits on that. On his good day now, he's absolutely brilliant. On his bad days, he's very, very indifferent.
The crow hawkers meet about twice a week during the autumn and winter months. Some use 4 legs, others use 4 wheels. All are very careful to avoid any association with fox hunting.
The reason we don't dress up is because people, very wrongly bring the conclusion that we're trying to be the replacement for fox hunting and fox hunting is under threat. Now, I mean, I'm very pro fox hunting. I think it's a very good means of fox control. But we have, one of the problems going with fox hunting is its image, so we're just not putting ourselves down that road.
For many spectators like Derek, it's the ultimate twitching, the thrill of seeing both birds in flight, pitting their wits against each other.
It's the way they fly the crow, the particular ploys the crow uses to escape, and the tactics that the falcon uses in reply to those tactics. I think that's the particular pleasure involved in watching the activity.
The cunning crows on Dartmoor now recognise Martin's vehicle, and they'll often head for the shelter of trees when they see him.
Spotted 2 crows flying across, but they seem to have flown right on past, so they're not really any good for us, unfortunately.
But it isn't long before Martin spots a target and releases Morgan.
Oh, he's up now, he's getting up. But you have to have the crow in a suitable position. It's no good having it too close to trees or thick cover. It's really got to be out in the open.
This time, Morgan returns with her talons empty. Martin says at least 1 in 3 of his flights ends this way.
Okay, flapjacks. Food? While we come back and change birds, we stop, we have a cup of coffee. We can't go quicker than she's eating anyhow, so we're governed by her space. So while we stop, it's nice to have a cup of coffee, a natter, swap lies on how wonderful we are and that sort of thing. And once she's finished eating this, we're going to take Galahad out and see what we can do with him.
But the search for the crow never stops, and whilst everyone else is taking a break, Martin spots another one.
Completely bloody wouldn't look that way at all.
Galahad shows his inexperience. Crows 2, falcon 0.
We just come back.
Another crow, and a second chance for Morgan. Now you must remember this is a natural contest, and it's pretty even. If anything, the crows have the edge, being completely wild and fully fit. But just look at the falcon go. These birds can stoop at their prey at speeds in excess of 100 miles an hour. But you know, crows are probably the most intelligent of all birds, quite capable of learning a few escape tactics. But this time they don't pay off. It's a kill, and Morgan has done her job.
What we always do, we always swap. So what I'll come in here, just gently offer her that piece of meat. And if she's in the right mood, she'll just step off onto my fist like that. And then she can carry on eating this, and this meat now becomes her reward. And that way she hasn't been stolen from, she's killed a crow, she gets a really good feed.
Although the British Trust for Ornithology aren't calling for a ban, they're not convinced that this is an effective form of pest control.
Crow hawking is a completely balmy method of attempting to control crow numbers. There are, I suppose, something like 1.5 million pairs of crows in the country. One would need an awful lot of hawks to make any difference to those sort of numbers.
There is no ultimate effective means of crow control. We just see ourselves as one means of crow control being used alongside others by various people. On Dartmoor, we're a very, very effective means of doing it. We can catch crows that other people can't catch. So again, we're thinning out the population. If a crow's moved into an area when you've killed one, it's moved out of another area.
Martin's crow hawking is legal. It's allowed under government licence. But whether it's effective remains a matter of dispute.
Well, as Chris said, crow hawking is legal as long as it's genuinely done for pest control. Nonetheless, some campaigners, like the League Against Cruel Sports, want all forms of falconry banned on animal welfare grounds. But what do you think? You can let us know by looking at our website.